The ancient church bells tolled overhead, each resonant chime vibrating through my chest like an accusation. My trembling fingers clutched the modest bouquet of white roses, their fragrance cloying and suffocating in the stuffy cathedral air. Whispers rippled through the pews behind me, growing louder with each second Brad was late to the altar. "He's not coming," my sister Keisha whispered, her hand warm on my bare shoulder, contrasting with the chill that had settled deep in my bones. I refused to believe it, even as my borrowed wedding dress, a stark white against my dark skin, felt like it was slowly strangling me. My 5-year-old daughter, Zola, fidgeted in her flower girl dress at the front pew, already bored with the delay, oblivious to the humiliation unfolding around her mother. "Just wait," I insisted, my voice barely audible. Traffic, maybe. But I knew deep down. The text message I'd received an hour earlier and had been too afraid to read fully suddenly burned in my memory. "I can't do this, Nia. Taking on another man's responsibility." Responsibility. That's what my daughter had become in Brad's eyes. Not the sweet, innocent child who had called him new daddy for the past 8 months, but a burden, a weight he decided at the last possible moment he couldn't bear. The murmurs grew louder. 80 guests, most from Brad's side, shifted uncomfortably in the pews. The priest gave me a pitying look that made my stomach turn. "Maybe you should call him again," Keisha suggested, though we both knew it was useless. "I've called 17 times in the past 30 minutes. The cathedral door creaked open. My heart leapt painfully, but it was just my best friend Tasha slipping back inside, her expression confirming what I already knew. She gave a small, devastated shake of her head. "He left a note with the best man," she whispered, pressing a folded paper into my hand. "Nia, I'm so sorry. I didn't need to read it." The weight of Brad's absence crushed the air from my lungs. 3 years of struggling as a single mother, working 2 jobs, finally meeting someone who seemed to accept both me and my daughter, all culminating in this moment of perfect public humiliation. The first tear broke free, sliding down my cheek. I had saved for months to afford the makeup artist, wanting to be beautiful just this once. "I need to get Zola out of here," I managed to say, my voice cracking. "I can't let her see me like this." As I turned to collect my daughter, the heavy wooden doors at the back of the cathedral swung open with decisive force. Every head turned. The sound echoed through the vaulted ceiling like a thunderclap, silencing the whispers instantly. He entered like a shadow, tall, imposing, flanked by 2 suited men whose watchful eyes scanned the room with practiced efficiency. The stranger wore a sharp black Mafia suit with a crisp white collared shirt that looked like it cost more than my annual salary. His dark hair was swept back from a face that seemed carved from marble, his features sharp and distinct. He was handsome in the way dangerous things often are. A sleek predator, a gathering storm. I didn't know him. I was certain of that. Yet something about him struck me as vaguely familiar. "Who is that?" Keisha whispered, but I could only shake my head. The stranger's presence commanded the room as he strode down the aisle with purposeful steps. His gaze, intense, dark, unreadable, fixed on me, and I felt pinned in place, unable to move under the weight of his scrutiny. Behind him, more men in suits filtered in, positioning themselves at the doors and along the walls. Time seemed to slow as he approached. I became acutely aware of my tear-stained face, the ill-fitting dress, my complete exposure in this moment of abandonment. Shame burned through me like acid. He stopped 3 feet from me, close enough that I could detect the faint scent of expensive cologne and something else, something sharp and masculine. "Nia Okeke," his voice was low, resonant with a smooth cadence. I managed a nod, clutching my wilting bouquet like a shield. "My name is Minho Park," he said it as though I should recognize it, a subtle furrow appearing between his brows when I showed no reaction. "You don't know who I am." It wasn't a question, but I shook my head anyway. The name meant nothing to me. His dark eyes flicked to the empty spot where Brad should have been, then back to me. "Your fiancé," he said the word with thinly veiled contempt. "He isn't coming." "I know," I whispered, humiliation burning anew at having this stranger witness my rejection. Minho's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. He worked for me indirectly. He owed me a significant debt. The cathedral had fallen completely silent. Even my daughter had stilled, watching the exchange with wide eyes. I don't understand, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Brad never mentioned. He wouldn't have. Min-ho cut in smoothly. The debt was substantial. He believed marrying you would complicate his ability to repay. The implication hit me like a physical blow. Brad had left me at the altar not just because of Zola, but because of money. Debts to a man who commanded enough power to fill a cathedral with suited guards at a moment's notice. Who are you? I asked, though a cold dread was already forming in the pit of my stomach. The corner of his mouth lifted in what might have been amusement. Someone who collects what he's owed. Keisha moved closer protectively, but one sharp look from Min-ho froze her in place. Your fiancé stole from me.
Did you know that?
He spoke quietly, yet his voice carried in the silent church. He diverted funds thinking I wouldn't notice. But I notice everything. I had nothing to do with that, I said, finding a thin thread of defiance beneath my shame. I know. His gaze softened fractionally, surprising me. You are collateral damage in his escape plan. He never intended to marry you. He needed a respectable cover, a family man facade, while he prepared to disappear with my money. Each word was another crack in the fragile fiction I'd built around Brad and our relationship. Had it all been a lie? His affection for Zola, his promises to give us the stable family we deserved. Mommy? Zola's small voice broke through my spiral of thoughts. She had approached silently, her flower crown askew, tiny dark fingers reaching for my hand. Where's Brad? Is the wedding canceled? Before I could answer, Min-ho knelt down to Zola's level, his movement surprisingly graceful for such a commanding presence in his pristine black Mafia suit. The men at his sides tensed, hands moving subtly toward their jackets, but remained in position. Hello, little one, he said, his voice transformed, gentler, though no less intense. What's your name?
I'm Zola.
I'm 5-inch. She held up 5 fingers proudly, seemingly unafraid of the stranger. Are you a friend of Brad's? Something dark flickered across Min-ho's expression. No, I am not Brad's friend. Zola considered this with childish solemnity. Is that why he's not here? Because he's afraid of you.
A surprise left escaped Min-ho.
A rich, genuine sound that transformed his severe features momentarily. Yes, little one. That is exactly why. He stood again, turning his attention back to me. His gaze lingered on my face, assessing, calculating. I had the unsettling feeling he was seeing far more than my smeared makeup and devastation. The debt must be paid, he said finally, his voice returning to that commanding tone. One way or another. Fear gripped me. I don't have any money. I barely make enough to. I know your financial situation, he interrupted, and the casual revelation that he knew such personal details made me shiver. I am not interested in what little savings you have. Then what do you want? My voice was barely a whisper. Min-ho glanced down at Zola, then to the confused faces of my family and friends before returning to me. We should discuss this privately. I'm not going anywhere with you, I said, finding courage in Zola's small hand in mine. He raised an eyebrow, the gesture somehow both elegant and threatening. Then I will speak plainly. Your fiancé has stolen $2 million from me. He has fled the country with my money, leaving you to face the consequences. That makes you the only available collateral. Gasps rippled through the cathedral. Keisha stepped forward. You can't be serious. She didn't do anything. Min-ho didn't even look at her. His eyes remained fixed on mine, watching my reaction with unsettling intensity. I have a proposition for you, Nia Okeke, he said, his voice dropping lower so that only those closest could hear. One that will settle the debt and ensure your daughter's future. What proposition? I asked, dread and curiosity warring within me. His answer sent a shockwave through the cathedral. Marry me instead. The bouquet slipped from my fingers, white rose petals scattering across the polished floor like snow. What? I breathed, certain I had misheard. Your fiancé refused to marry you, Min-ho said, each word precise and deliberate. So, I am offering to take his place. That's insane, I said, finding my voice. I don't even know you. You knew him for what, a year? And look how that ended. His gaze was unflinching. I am offering you security, protection, a future for your daughter. In return, the debt is erased. And if I refuse? Something shifted in his expression, a hardening, a glimpse of the steel beneath the polished exterior. Then I will collect what I am owed through other means. Your ex-fiancé has family. They have assets. The threat was clear. I thought of Brad's elderly parents in the third pew, their confused, frightened expressions. You would hurt innocent people over money? I asked, disgust rising within me. Minho tilted his head slightly. I am a Korean mafia boss. Business is business. I prefer the elegant solution. Don't you? Korean mafia boss. He said the title with a chilling calmness, claiming the identity openly. Elegant? As if forcing a stranger into marriage at the altar where she's just been abandoned could ever be described as elegant. This is ridiculous, I said, fighting back fresh tears. I can't just marry a stranger because another man left me. Not a stranger, he corrected. Minho Park. And I am not offering out of pity, Nia. I have had my eye on you for some time. The revelation sent a chill down my spine. What does that mean? Instead of answering, he glanced at his watch, a subtle, expensive gesture. You have a choice to make. The debt must be settled today, one way or another. You can't just. I can, he said simply, with the confidence of a man unaccustomed to hearing the word no. And I am. In that moment, I saw with perfect clarity what Brad had done. He hadn't just abandoned me. He had left me to face a predator he'd angered, using my heartbreak as a distraction while he fled with stolen millions. Mommy, are we still having a party? Zola asked, tugging my hand. You said there would be cake. Minho's gaze softened as he looked at my daughter. There will definitely be cake, little one. Your mother, and I just need to finish our conversation. His presumption ignited a spark of anger within me. Don't make promises to my child. He met my glare with unexpected appreciation in his dark eyes. Fire.
Good.
You will need that. Before I could respond, he stepped closer, lowering his voice for my ears alone. I know about your struggles, Nia. The 2 jobs, the late rent payments, the payday loans. I know about Zola's father and how he left you both. I know about the medical bills you can't pay. He paused, letting each revelation sink in. I am offering you a way out. All you have to do is say yes. My head spun with disbelief. How did he know these things? Why had he been watching me? And most disturbing of all, why would a powerful Korean mafia boss want to marry someone like me? What do you get out of this? I managed to ask. A small smile played at his lips. Let's call it a mutually beneficial arrangement. You get security. I get. His gaze traveled over me in a way that made my skin heat despite myself. Something I have wanted for some time. I opened my mouth to refuse, to tell him I couldn't possibly consider such an outrageous proposal. But my eyes caught on Zola's hopeful face, then drifted to my reflection in the stained glass, a beautiful, heartbroken woman in a borrowed dress. I need time to think, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. The priest is already here. The guests are seated. It would be a shame to waste the opportunity. His tone was light, almost amused, but his eyes remained serious, watchful. Think quickly, Nia. The next few moments passed in a blur. Keisha pulled me aside, panic contorting her features. Nia, you can't seriously be considering this. The man is a Korean mafia boss. He just admitted it. I glanced over at Minho, who stood calmly conversing with the priest. His posture was relaxed yet commanding in his black suit. The men who had accompanied him remained stationed throughout the cathedral. I don't have a choice, Keisha, I whispered. You heard him. If I refuse, he'll go after Brad's family. And who knows what happens to us? He knows where we live. He knows everything. We should call the police, Keisha hissed. Look at these men, I murmured. Do you think the local police can protect us from a powerful Korean mafia boss? Besides, Brad stole from him. There's truth in that part. At least, Keisha's eyes filled with tears. But marriage? Nia, you don't know anything about this man. I looked down at Zola, who had wandered back to her seat and was happily swinging her legs. The crushing weight of single motherhood, the constant financial struggle, the nights I'd gone hungry to ensure Zola had enough to eat, all of it pressed down on me. I know he could destroy us if I refuse, I said softly. And I know he could provide for Zola in ways I've never been able to. As Minho turned and caught my eye, the intensity of his gaze made my breath catch. I wasn't sure there was another way. I straightened my shoulders and walked back toward him. Have you reached a decision? Minho asked, his voice calm. I need to understand something first, I said. Why marriage? If this is about punishing Brad, there are simpler ways. A flicker of appreciation crossed his features. Intelligent question. This isn't about punishing Brad, though that is an enjoyable side benefit. This is about what I want. And what exactly do you want? A wife. A family. You, he glanced at Zola. Both of you. A chill ran through me. But why me? There must be dozens of women who would. I don't want dozens of women, he cut in smoothly. I want you. I've watched you for months, Nia. Your loyalty, your strength, your devotion to your daughter. These qualities are rare. That's stalking, I said. That's due diligence, he corrected, unperturbed. I don't enter into arrangements lightly. Arrangements, I repeated bitterly. Would you prefer I pretend this is a love match? His mouth curved into the barest hint of a smile. I respect you too much for such fiction. This is an arrangement that benefits us both. I gain a wife with qualities I admire. You and your daughter gain protection, security, and a future far better than anything you could provide alone. His blunt honesty was surprisingly refreshing after months of Brad's lies. If I agree, I said carefully, I have conditions. He raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Zola comes first, always. Her well-being, her happiness, her future. Those are non-negotiable. He nodded once, decisively. Agreed. I want to finish my degree. I've put it off too long. Of course, he interrupted. I insist on it. Education is valuable. I blinked, caught off guard. And I want to know what you do. The truth. No more secrets. At this, his expression grew more guarded. You understand that some aspects of my business require discretion, but you deserve to know who you are marrying. We will discuss it. Not here, but soon. I took a deep breath. Refuse and face the consequences. Accept and enter a marriage with a dangerous Korean mafia boss. One more thing, I said, my voice stronger now. This may be an arrangement, but if we're going to be married, I won't be treated like a possession. I expect respect. Something like admiration flickered in his eyes. I would expect nothing less from the woman I choose as my wife. Do we have a deal, Nia? He asked, extending his hand. I stared at his outstretched palm. Strong, well manicured. Yes, I said, placing my hand in his. We have a deal. His fingers closed around mine, warm and surprisingly gentle. Excellent. Father, we are ready to proceed. The next 30 minutes were a surreal dream. Minho's men ushered Brad's confused relatives to one side. My own small family huddled together in shock. Zola, delighted the wedding was proceeding, skipped back up the aisle. When she reached us, Minho knelt down to her level again. May I have your permission to marry your mother? He asked her solemnly. Zola tilted her head. Will you make her cry like Brad did? A shadow passed over Minho's features. No, little one. I won't make her cry. Promise. Okay, Zola decided. But you have to come to my tea parties. Brad never did.
A genuine smile transformed Minho's face.
It would be my honor to attend your tea parties. I swallowed down a hysterical laugh as Minho rose to his feet. The ceremony was brief. I spoke my vows in a distant voice. Minho spoke his with clear confidence. The ring he produced was a simple platinum band with a single flawless diamond. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the priest declared, bewildered. You may kiss the bride. I froze. Minho's dark eyes met mine, waiting for permission. With a slight nod, I consented. His hand cupped my cheek, his thumb brushing my dark skin gently. Then his lips touched mine, light, firm, and confident. It lasted only seconds, yet I felt oddly breathless. Mrs. Park, he said softly. We processed down the aisle, Minho's men forming a protective bubble around us. Outside, a line of black SUVs waited. The lead car was a luxury limousine. Zola scrambled in excitedly.
Cool.
Minho helped me in, his hand steady on my back. I sank into the cream leather, the weight of my decision crashing down. I had married a Korean mafia boss. You're pale, Minho observed. Are you unwell? Just processing. I managed. He pressed a button, revealing a compartment with water and juice. What would you like, little one? He asked Zola. Apple juice. As we pulled away, leaving my old life behind, I asked, what about the reception? My men will explain the change in circumstances. Those who wish to leave may do so. We are going to the reception for Zola's sake. The hotel ballroom looked exactly as I had planned, but the atmosphere was altered. Minho's men were everywhere, their black suits standing out against the white decor. Most of Brad's relatives had fled. My friends remained, looking terrified. Mrs. Okeke, Minho addressed Tasha with perfect politeness as we entered. Rest assured, Nia is safe. You forced her, Tasha accused. Tasha, please, I said, stepping between them. Not here. Zola spotted the cake. Can I have cake now? You promised. Minho knelt down. So I did. But first, a proper introduction. Zola, from today I am your— He paused, glancing at me. Stepfather, I supplied. Stepfather, he repeated. You may call me Minho. Does that mean you're my new daddy?
Minho answered gently.
I would be honored to be your father figure, but that position must be earned. For now, I am your mother's husband and your protector. Okay, Zola accepted. Cake now, Minho? He smiled. First dinner, then cake. The reception proceeded with surreal normalcy. We sat at the head table. Minho was attentive, ensuring Zola had everything she needed. Halfway through the meal, Minho leaned close. Your sister wants to speak with you. I suggest the ladies' room. My men will ensure privacy. I met Keisha in the restroom. Nia, what the hell? He's a Korean mafia boss. You can't go home with him. I have to, Keisha. For Zola. He promised us safety. At what cost?
He's been
kind, I admitted, realizing it was true. When we returned, Minho had removed his suit jacket, revealing the shoulder holster against his white shirt. The gun was unmistakable, yet he was laughing at something Zola said. Time for cake, he announced. He guided my hand as we cut the cake. When it was time to feed each other, he took a bite from the piece I offered, then turned and fed Zola instead of me, making her giggle. We danced. His arm around my waist was firm. You're afraid, he observed. I just married a Korean mafia boss who threatened people. Should I be relaxed?
No, but your fear is misplaced.
I have no intention of harming you. Why me? I asked again. You underestimate yourself, Nia. Your resilience, your beauty. I have wealth and power, but I want a partner who understands loyalty. As the reception wound down, Zola fell asleep in a chair. It's time to go, Minho said. Home. I need my things from the apartment, already taken care of. My people packed everything. It is being delivered to our home. You went through my things? I bristled. I apologize, he said, surprising me. I thought it would be helpful. In the future, I will consult you. He lifted the sleeping Zola with tenderness. If you ever hurt her, I began. I would die first, he interrupted. I protect what is mine. We drove for an hour to a wealthy suburb. The car stopped before imposing iron gates. A massive estate loomed ahead. Welcome home, Mrs. Park, Minho said. Inside, the house was a study in tasteful opulence. Minho carried Zola up a sweeping staircase to a room painted soft purple. Her favorite color, he noted. I wanted her to have a proper room ready. I stood frozen. He had prepared this. Thank you, I whispered. He led me to the next room, your bedroom. My room is connected through that door. It remains unlocked, but I will not enter without invitation. Thank you. Your things will arrive soon. Rest now. We will talk tomorrow. Wait, I called. You admitted you're a Korean mafia boss. What does that mean for us? It means I lead an organization. We have interests in real estate, shipping, and loan facilitation. I do not hurt people unless necessary. And as my wife, you and Zola enjoy the highest level of protection. He left me alone in the luxurious room. I showered in a marble bathroom larger than my old kitchen. When I came out, a young woman named Ji-yoon was there. Good evening, Mrs. Park. I am your assistant. I have brought your belongings. I unpacked my shabby clothes into the massive closet next to the expensive items Minho had provided. Later, I checked the connecting door. It was unlocked. I peeked through. Minho sat at a desk, speaking Korean into a phone, his gun holster visible. Yes, she is my wife now, he said in English. Transfer the custody arrangements. I gasped. He turned, spotting me. We will discuss the legalities tomorrow with my lawyer, he said calmly. You have nothing to fear. I have secured your position. Good night, Minho, I said, closing the door. The next morning, sunlight streamed into the room. Ji-yoon brought coffee. Miss Zola is having breakfast with Mrs. Kim. I found Zola in the kitchen, eating pancakes shaped like bears. Mommy, Mrs. Kim made bear pancakes. And Minho gave me this bracelet. She showed me a silver charm bracelet. It has a GPS locator. Minho's bodyguard, Daehyun, explained respectfully. For her safety, I met with Minho and his lawyer in the study. You have a monthly allowance of $50,000, the lawyer stated, and a trust for Zola.
Minho.
This is too much. It is appropriate for my wife, he said. And you will transfer to the university for your nursing degree. Full-time. You're letting me go to school? I insist on it. And the physical aspect of our marriage? I asked boldly. I am a patient man, Minho said, his eyes dark. We will let things develop naturally. The weeks turned into months. Zola thrived, calling him Papa Minho. I excelled in my classes. Minho was true to his word, protective but not controlling. We developed rituals.
Dinner together.
Wine in the garden. I saw the respect his men held for him. He was a powerful Korean Mafia boss, yes, but he was also a man of honor. 3 months later, I sat with him in the garden. You came top of your class, he said, pouring wine. I am proud of you. You check my grades. I take an interest. Are you happy here, Nia? He asked suddenly. I am content. You've been kind, but not happy, he sighed. What if I told you that you could leave?
Take Zola. Go.
I will still support you financially.
Nostrines.
You would let us go. Because I want your choice, Nia, not your captivity. And if I stay, then it would be as true partners. Husband and wife in substance, not just name. I looked at him, the sharp jawline, the dark eyes that had watched over me and my daughter with such ferocity. The Korean Mafia boss who attended Zola's tea parties. I don't need time to think, I said softly. I stood and walked to him. I choose to stay. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Minho stood, his expression hopeful. You are sure? I am sure. He leaned down, kissing me with a passion that had been restrained for months. In the arms of the dangerous man who had claimed me, I found the one thing I had never expected. Love. Then you are mine, he whispered against my lips.
Truly mine.
And you are mine, I replied.